the next part of the note catcher, which is here. There's so many ways to do these problems, okay? And maybe for each problem we do 2 ways. You want to share your way, Kiki?
I did.
Let me just read it. I don't remember it. Allie is bringing granola bars to her soccer club. So important information, 8 granola bars in 1 box. Use a ratio table to determine, so our job is to determine the number of boxes she will need to feed 130 players. What did you do, Kiki?
First, I times 1 and 8 times 10.
Okay, so your goal is, you're trying to get what? Okay, good. So maybe like over here, sometimes I put like the goal, so I keep my focus, you know, of what I'm aiming for. And so if you do that, you get a 10 and an 8, 80, so you're close to your goal. Okay.
And I times it by another 10.
Like 800? Really?
Yeah.
Is that pretty far away from your goal?
Yeah, but then I divided it by 5, and then I divided it by 20. And then I said, Allie will need 20 boxes.
Let's just go with it. Times by 10. I think we might be able to be more efficient, but it's kind of fun to see like other people's work, and then also when you first start ratio tables, you're not always very efficient, and then how would you get more efficient? So she divided it in half, right?
I divided it by 5.
Oh, by 5. Okay. So 5 goes into, oh, and you got 160?
Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
20 over 160.
Okay.
Then,
so I thought you were going to be less efficient than that. So she knows some math facts here. 5 times 16 is 80. So she divided by 5 and got 160 and 20. Look how close to the goal she is. Man, Kiki, I thought you were going to take a lot longer to get there.
then I put Allie will make 20 boxes.
Okay, you don't want to have that much extra. So how about determine the minimum number of boxes?
I divided it by.
Can somebody help from there? I love the start. Let's see.
Can I
Faith?
just do mine?
Okay, let's try to work this one, Lucas.
You could do it divided by, you could do add the second column.
But we want,
No, so
if you subtract the second column, that's too much to take away.
I did it better.
I divided it by 2 after that.
You divided this by 2? Okay, but then you're right back to here. Let's hear
Oh.
what Kieran has to say. Any suggestions?
You could subtract column 1 from column.
Okay, I like that. Subtract, like let's subtract column 1, or in other words, take a box away. That would give us 19 boxes, right?
I did something wrong.
And then we have 152 bars, so we're closer. Do it again, sure. You could subtract column 1 again. You're just taking a box away, you know what I'm saying? So if you take another box away, you have 18 boxes, but then you have to take away 8 bars. So it's a little slow, but you'll get there in the end. So if I take away 8 more bars, I have 140, what? 4. 4, yeah. And so if I do it one more time, I'd have 17 boxes. If I take away 8 more bars, I have 136. And now everybody gets a bar. But if I take away another box, there wouldn't be enough bars for everybody. So we'd say Allie will need how many boxes? 17. And how many bars does she have left over? 6. Okay, let's in a minute make it more efficient. But Kiki, it's actually a good start for the first day of ratio tables.
Does that mean I did it wrong by
Yes. So what I should change in the wording is the least amount. The least amount of boxes. So technically, you solved the problem, and I could have done a better job asking it, the question. Okay, let's hear Faith Sway.
So I got like a different amount of boxes, but I got the same amount of bars. So I multiplied the first column by 16 because that.
Did we end up with the wrong amount of boxes?
Well, no, I just did it kind of.
So what you're saying is, why did you pick 16?
Because it got close to 30. Because 8 times 16.
Did you just know that math fact in your head?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so the idea of a ratio table, you haven't done anything wrong, but we really want to try to do as much mental math as possible. So table that thought, and let's see what Lucas has to say.
So you do the first one times 11.
Okay, so that's kind of a more common math fact that you could do in your head. So let's see where that goes. So, in other words, Faith, it sounds like you maybe did a correct approach, but we want to make it even easier.
Okay.
So if we times by 11, let's see what happens here. I get 11 and 88. Okay, now what?
Now you could times the other column by 4.
Okay.
So times the first column by 4.
Sure. So we're going to just go with it. Times by 4. And you'd have 4 boxes and 32 bars.
And then you could add column 2 and column 3.
So I'm going to add to this column 2. So basically these, right? 15 boxes. Do you guys see that? See how he's like, there's no scratch work? We could do this with mental math. So 80, you might have to do a little, like here, 32, 2 and 8 make 10, so that's 100 and what? Maybe a little scratch work. We want to minimize it.
120.
Yes, 120. And you didn't even write it down, so that's good. So we need a little bit more.
And then you could times that column by 2.
Yeah, you could make 2 boxes, right? 2 boxes would have how many bars?
8, 16.
16.
And then you could add that column.
And then you could add this column to this column and get 17 boxes, have 136 bars. So we still need the 17 boxes and we still have 6 left over. A little more efficient. Does that make sense? Okay, so rather than doing everybody's version, let's go to another problem. Otherwise, we could do this all day. So let's take another problem. Octavia, do you want to tell me how you did number 4? Aaron has to arrange water bottles in a carrier for his basketball team. He can put 6 bottles in a carrier, right? If he has 114 water bottles in all, how many carriers will he need?
So I started by multiplying it by 10.
What is it? What did you put here? 1 carrier holds 6 bottles, and what's your goal? Do you want it in the bottom or the top? Okay, so if her goal's 114 and she said she's multiplying it by 10, Adrian, do you think that's going to be helpful to get close to the goal or a good start? Yeah. It's an easy start and it's a pretty good start. We're a lot closer.
And then you just multiply 10 and by 2 and just
Double. Good. So just mental math, you get 20 carriers is 120 bottles, and the goal was what, Jack?
goal was
So what do you think she did on her last step? Subtracted column 1. Is that what you did? Good. Nice job. So that was very efficient, but also to be fair, the numbers were easier. So Aaron will need 114 carriers. 100 and, I mean, Ms. Carew answered the wrong question. Darn it. I didn't reread the question just like I always tell you guys to do. Okay. Don't you hate
I
that?
told my sister, I told my sister stop talking, and she always said.
Thank you, Karen.
And then whenever I need to stop talking.
Vivi.
Can I show you the way that I do? It's actually fast.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so if like it gives you like the bar, do you need to fill it all out?
No. Good question. So Vivi's gonna show us her way.
Oh, it's right.
Did you start the same? Like, well, what'd you start with?
So I started by multiplying it by 18.
But why 18? Did you do scratch work to come up with that?
Only for 6 and 18, but
What did you tell me your thinking of how you picked 18?
I don't know because like
You
if
just kind of
if I did 18 and then I added 108 to 6, then I would get 114.
okay. So my only thing is like I was saying to Faith, when you have to go over here and do scratch work, which did you get 108?
Yep.
It's going to slow you down. So the idea of a ratio table, so it's not wrong, but the idea of the ratio table is try to use mental math. So 10s, 2s, 5s, things like that are easier.
Yeah.
So, but it's not incorrect. And then you could,
And then after that, I added the first column.
yeah. So, and you would get the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So my question to you is, did you have to do scratch work off to the side?
Just very little.
Okay.
Well, technically, I already knew what 8 times 6 was, and
So you just thought of it.
Yeah.
That's great. So it's just another solution. Okay, we're gonna skip 1 and I'm gonna do 6. We're gonna skip 5, I'm gonna do 6. I just want to show you something else. So like, if you have something like $5.50, so Maya makes $5.50 every time she waters her neighbor's garden. If she made $66, so that would be like if she made $66, how many times did she water the garden? So I know she makes $5.50 per one time. I could double also. Do you see if I double, the decimal goes away? What do I get when I double 550? Yeah,
11.
Will. 11. And Will, why might that be helpful?
The answer is 66, and 11 is a multiple of 66. So
Right. So I could just multiply by
6.
6. So that's another good mental math one because I didn't have to do scratch work. And the whole idea of the ratio table is to just try to like do mental math and organize it. And so hold on, I have to reread the question. How many times did she need to water the garden? 12. Kieran.
I had a way that I thought I knew that 5 goes into 60 12 times.
Yeah.
And so I said multiply it by 12.
And then did you subtract?
Yeah.
Columns. Great. Lots of good ways to do that. Okay. So for the last bit of class, we're going to actually look at this percent situation. Now remember, like when we learned something like ratio tables, did you guys notice I put like the note catcher over there? I'm going to have you guys help me with some of those next week just so we can use them for notes. Ratio tables in the note catcher are sometimes just like teaching you different things and reminding you. So this next page is doing some review and some new. Because it says a ratio table is also a useful tool for equivalent fractions. That's review. Percents might be new for you. And the word percent, a percent is a comparison to 100. So it means per 100. So like this first example, these are all just equivalent fractions, aren't they? I could double. And then, how do you think I got from, like, Adrian, can you think of, well, I already called on you today. Let's see, Jara, how do you think you could get the 9 and the 12? What's one strategy?
Add column 1.
You could add column 1 to column 2. That's one way. Good job. What's another way? There's another way. So first,
you add like the 6, 8 part.
you can only add columns, or you can multiply and divide by numbers. Anybody see another way? Faith?
You multiply column 1 by 3.
You could also multiply by 3, but then you have to do the same thing up here. So 2 ways. But these are all equivalent fractions. 3/4 is equal to 6/8, which is equal to 9/12, which is equal to 15/20.
Which is equal to 4/3 of
So how do you think I got the 15/20? Will,
You times it by
what's it?
3 and 4.
Yeah, I could have times this by 5. That's one way. Or I could have added this column to this column,
That's
right?
what I was going to say.
And then to get from here to here, I times by 5. So now I have 75 per 100. And percent means per 100. So what we know is 3 out of 4 is 75 out of 100. And we also say that's 75%. Can I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a sideways on that? Good on that? Yes. Question or?
The perfect cent means like 100. It's per cent.
Right. Per
Well, it
100.
translates roughly into Latin.
Yeah, it's a rough translation. So, can you guys just focus on equivalent fractions for a minute and maybe let's find 3 more equivalent fractions. Just, who's got one? Kiki. How about add columns and get one for me? So we know 2/3 is the same as 20/30ths, right?
Yeah.
And I can also divide by 5.
Yeah.
So 2/3 is the same as 4/6. I could times by 6.
Yeah.
So 2/3 is the same as 24/36. Can you give me a different one? You don't have to add columns. You could do another. Yeah.
I divided 24 and 36. I know, I times it by 2.
Times it.
About 48/72.
Okay.
And I divided it by 8.
Wow. 48/72. Whoops. 72, and then you divide it by 8.
Yeah.
You are a mad mathematician.
6 and 9.
6 and 9.
Yep.
Okay. Now add columns. Travis, add 2 columns. So just take 2 of the columns there and add them together.
Oh, let me count. The 5th column plus the 3rd column.
Okay, so 52 out of 78 is also an equivalent fraction. We could check it. 52 out of 78, if I divided it in half, I would get 26 and 39. Ooh, that's a tricky one. If I divide by 3, I get 13. Oh, if I divide by 13, I should say, I get 2/3. Woo! So that's a bunch of equivalent fractions. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay, we're going to start the concept of percents, but you're not going to do it for homework. We're going to do it for warm-up when we come back. But since percent means per 100, if you could take a ratio table with a fraction and make the bottom 100, you've got percents. So, don't back up. Okay, watch. If I want to do 3/5 as a percent, I'm going to put 3/5 and make this like a part to whole comparison. And my part is 3 and my whole is 5. If I double, Tanner, what will I have when I do 3 times 2?
You'll have 6.
Right. And now if I times by 10, Lily, what will I have? 60 and what's 10 times 10?
100.
So 60 per 100 means 60%. So you guys, that's how you change a fraction to percent. So Blake, demonstrate that skill right here. So how did I get here?
You multiply by 2.
Good. So what would be up here?
4.
Good. But I want percent, so I need a per 100. So how do I get to there?
So you multiply 500.
Multiply 10 by
Yeah, sorry,
10. So what would I have here?
40. We have 40
So we know that 2/5,
is equal to 40%.
40 out of 100, which is 40%. Okay. It gets a little harder. You ready for a harder one? Oh, class, I want to hear. Oh wait, that one's way easy. But what's easy? Okay, Nicole. Nicole, what do you do here? I have to get to 100.
Hello, YouTube.
Yeah, that one's too easy. Times by 10. So 7/10 is the same as 70.
70% out of 100.
Okay.
70%.
Wait a minute. Now it's going to get harder. As soon as you guys are ready. Watch this little trick here. I'm going to skip. You know what? That's probably a good place to stop, actually. Because it gets a little hard and that might be confusing and we don't want to rush the end of class. So, can you guys take a look at your note catcher and take a look at our note catcher and have a seat for a minute? You should have a complete note catcher through page 4 in the ratio table section. Got it? And when we come back Monday, we're going to start with percent.
Hi, LMS.
Wow.
Hugo would like to invite all LMS pirates to fill the gym this Friday, December 8th, right after school.